Imagine sitting at a polished mahogany dining table, the kind that gleams under chandelier light, your mother's eyes boring into you like twin daggers. The air smells of rosemary and regret, and the weight of her words lands like a guillotine. You're not getting a single cent. Your heart skips, but you force a smile, cool as winter frost. All right, you say, voice steady, then don't expect a dime from me. You set down your knife and fork, the clink echoing like a gunshot. You stand chair scraping and walk away, unaware that you've just stepped into a nightmare that will unravel everything you thought you knew about family, loyalty, and yourself. Welcome to Whisper's story. Buckle up, because this tale of betrayal and redemption will leave you questioning who you can trust. The dining room in my mother's Connecticut estate was a museum of her triumphs. Crystal stemware, oil paintings of stern ancestors, and a will that might as well have been carved in stone. I was 38, single, and scraping by as a freelance graphic designer in Brooklyn, my dreams of a big break always one client away. My mother, Eleanor Whitmore, was the opposite, a retired real estate tycoon with a fortune that could choke a dragon. She wore her wealth like armor, her silver hair swept into a chignon, her silk blouse whispering money with every gesture. That night, we'd been summoned, me, my older sister Claire, and our younger brother Nate, for what she called a family reckoning. I'd driven up from the city, my ancient Honda wheezing through the gated driveway, already dreading the lecture. Eleanor didn't do warmth. She did ultimatums. As I sat there, picking at the overcooked salmon, her words about the will hit me like a slap. No inheritance. Not a penny. Claire gasped, her manicured nails clutching her wineglass. Nate, ever the golden child, just smirked, probably thinking he'd dodged the cut. But me? I felt something else, a strange, reckless calm. I'd spent years tiptoeing around her expectations, her judgments about my bohemian life. If she wanted to play hardball, I was done begging. My smile wasn't defiance, it was surrender. All right, then don't expect a dime from me. I didn't mean money, I had none. I meant loyalty, love, the scraps of daughterly duty I'd been tossing her way. The clink of my utensils was my exit music. I stood, my chair scraping the hardwood, and walked out, my pulse hammering. Outside, the November air bit my cheeks. I climbed into my car, hands shaking as I gripped the wheel. I didn't know then that Eleanor's words were just the opening move in a game I hadn't signed up to play. Three days later, a letter arrived at my cramped apartment, its cream envelope embossed with Eleanor's monogram. My stomach churned as I slit it open. Inside was a single sheet, her elegant script like a taunt. If you think you can walk away, you're mistaken. Meet me at the estate Saturday. 7 p.m. Come alone, or you'll regret it. No signature. Just her initials, E.W., like a royal decree. I tossed it on my coffee table, next to a stack of unpaid bills. Part of me wanted to ignore it, to let her stew in her own venom. But another part, the part that still remembered her tucking me in as a kid, her perfume lingering like a promise, couldn't let go. I spent the week obsessing. Why the secrecy? Why me? Claire had called, fishing for details, her voice syrupy with fake concern. Nate texted, all emojis and nonchalance, but I sensed he knew something. By Saturday, curiosity had me in its jaws. I drove back to Connecticut, the estate looming like a haunted castle under a bruise-colored sky. Eleanor was waiting in her study, a fire crackling in the hearth. She looked smaller somehow, her eyes less flinty. Sit, she said, gesturing to a leather armchair. I obeyed, bracing for another blow. I lied, she said, her voice low. You're not cut out of the will. Not yet. My breath caught. Was this an apology? A trap? Before I could ask, she slid a folder across her desk. Inside were legal documents, bank statements, and a grainy photo of a man I didn't recognize. Mid-40s, sharp jaw, cold eyes. "This is Victor Crane," she said. "He's been siphoning money from my accounts for years. I need you to stop him." I stared at her, dumbfounded. Me? Why not the police? Or Claire? Or Nate? "Because you're the only one I trust," she said, and for a moment, her mask slipped, revealing something raw, fear maybe or desperation. "Find proof. Bring it to me. Do this, and you'll get half the estate." Half. The number buzzed in my skull like a neon sign. Millions. Enough to erase my debts, to start over. But the photo of Victor Crane burned in my hands. Who was he? And why did Eleanor think I, a glorified doodler, could outsmart him? I didn't sleep that night. Back in Brooklyn, I paced my apartment, the folder spread across my kitchen counter like a crime scene. The documents showed transfers to offshore accounts, each one linked to Crane's name. He wasn't just a thief, he was a ghost, no digital footprint beyond a P.O. box in Manhattan. I wasn't a detective. I designed logos, not sting operations. But the promise of half the estate, and the sting of Eleanor's distrust in anyone else, lit a fire in me. I started small, Googling Crane's name, cross-referencing the P.O. box. Nothing. Then I remembered an old college friend, Mia, who worked in cybersecurity. She owed me a favor. Mia met me at a dive bar, her laptop glowing like a weapon. "This guy's slick," she said, her fingers flying over the keys. "But nobody's invisible." By midnight, she dug up an address, a penthouse in Tribeca, registered under a shell company. "Be careful," she warned. "Guys like this don't play nice." I spent the next week planning. I'd pose as a delivery courier, get into Crane's building, and snoop for evidence. Risky, but I was desperate. I bought a cheap uniform, practiced my cover story, and tried not to think about what happened if I got caught. The morning of the plan, my phone buzzed. A text from Claire: "Heard you're playing spy. Bad move, sis." My blood ran cold. How did she know? Had Eleanor told her? Or was someone watching me? I shoved the phone in my pocket and headed to Tribeca, my heart a jackhammer. Crane's building was all glass and steel, the kind of place that screamed untouchable. I flashed a fake delivery slip at the doorman, my voice steady despite the sweat pooling at my spine. He waved me through. The elevator ride to the penthouse felt like climbing a gallows. The door was ajar. Bad sign. I slipped inside, clutching a prop package, my eyes scanning the minimalist decor. White walls, black furniture, a single orchid in a vase. Then I saw it, a laptop on a glass desk, screen glowing. Jackpot. I was halfway to it when a shadow moved. Victor Crane stepped from a hallway, his eyes exactly as cold as the photo. "You're Eleanor's girl," he said, not a question. My throat closed. How did he know? "Delivery," I stammered, holding up the package. He laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Drop the act. She sent you to dig, didn't she?" He stepped closer, and I saw the glint of a knife in his hand. Panic clawed my chest, but I forced myself to think. The laptop. The evidence. I was so close. Then the door burst open. Nate. My brother, in a tailored suit, looking like he'd strolled off a yacht. "Enough, Victor," he said, calm as a summer day. Crane froze, the knife lowering. I stared, my brain scrambling. "Nate? What the hell?" He didn't look at me. "Go home, Libby. This doesn't concern you." But it did. Because in that moment, I saw it, the way Crane deferred to Nate, the way Nate's eyes flicked to the laptop. My brother wasn't here to save me. He was part of it. I ran. Down the fire stairs, out into the street, my lungs burning. Nate's betrayal was a knife in my gut, sharper than Crane's blade. My own brother, working with a crook to bleed our mother dry. Why? Greed? Revenge? I didn't know, and it didn't matter. I had to warn Eleanor. Back at my apartment, I locked the door and called her. No answer. I tried Claire, then remembered her cryptic text. Was she in on it too? Paranoia gnawed at me, but I couldn't stop. I grabbed the folder, stuffed it in a backpack, and caught a train to Connecticut. The estate was dark when I arrived, the gates locked. I climbed the wall, thorns snagging my jacket, and crept to the study window. Eleanor was inside, slumped in her chair, a glass of wine tipped over on the desk. My heart stopped. Was she? No. She stirred, her eyes meeting mine through the glass. She opened the window, her face pale. Libby, she whispered, they're coming for me. Who? I climbed inside, my voice shaking. Nate? Crane. She shook her head, tears glinting. All of them. Even Claire. The room spun. My entire family, conspiring against her. Against me. Eleanor grabbed my hand, her grip iron. The will, she said. It's not about money. It's about power. They want control of the company. Whitmore Enterprises. Her real estate empire, worth billions. The will wasn't just a fortune, it was a crown. And I was the only one standing in their way. Headlights swept the driveway. Car doors slammed. I pulled Eleanor to the back door, my mind racing. We couldn't fight them, Nate, Claire, Crane, maybe others. We needed proof, something to expose them. The laptop, I said. Crane's laptop. If we can get it. Too late, Eleanor said, her voice breaking. They're here. Footsteps crunched outside. I dragged her to the garage, shoving her into my car. Drive, I said, tossing her the keys. Get to the police. What about you? She asked, her eyes wide. I'm ending this. I ran back to the study, grabbing a letter opener from the desk. Not much, but better than nothing. The front door splintered open, and there they were, Nate, Claire, and Crane, their faces masks of greed and rage. You should have stayed out of it, Claire said, her voice venomous. You're my sister, I spat. How could you? She laughed, bitter. You think you're special because Mom picked you? She's using you, Libby. Just like she used us. Nate stepped forward, his charm gone. Give us the folder. Now. I clutched it tighter, my knuckles white. You'll have to kill me first. Crane raised his knife, but before he could move, sirens wailed. Blue lights flashed through the windows. Eleanor had done it. The police were here. Nate lunged for the folder, but I dodged, slamming the letter opener into his hand. He screamed, blood splattering. Claire froze, her bravado crumbling. Crane bolted, but the cops were already pouring in. The aftermath was a blur. Statements, arrests, headlines. Nate and Claire were charged with embezzlement and conspiracy. Crane vanished, but the police had his laptop, recovered from the penthouse. The evidence was damning, years of fraud, all tied to my siblings. Eleanor and I sat in her study a week later, the fire crackling like a heartbeat. She looked older, her armor cracked. I'm sorry, she said, her voice soft. I should have told you everything. Why me? I asked, the question that had haunted me. Why not them? Because you're honest, she said. You never wanted the money. You wanted me. Tears stung my eyes. She was right. All I'd ever wanted was her approval, her love. And now I had it, not because of a will, but because I'd fought for her. She rewrote the will that day, naming me sole heir. But it wasn't about the money anymore. It was about justice, about proving I was more than the bohemian she'd dismissed. I donated half the estate to a foundation for underprivileged artists, a middle finger to the privilege that had poisoned my family. As for me, I'm still in Brooklyn, still designing, but with a new fire. I'm not running anymore. Not from Eleanor, not from myself. And there you have it, Whispers Story listeners. A tale of betrayal, courage, and the kind of family secrets that make you check your own locks at night. What would you do if your mother looked you in the eye and cut you out? Would you walk away, or would you fight? Hit that subscribe button on Whispers Story to catch our next episode, where we unravel another life turned upside down. Because in this world, the only thing more dangerous than a lie is the truth.